We have hit the fall housing market, and on this month's Boston Real Estate Update, I am going to answer the number one question that I've been getting, which is, do I buy a house right now or do I wait? On this episode, we're gonna go over the exact best week of the year to buy a home according to Realtor.com. We'll take a look at Massachusetts inventory. We'll zoom in on a couple specific towns to see how prices are doing year to date. And then I'll lay out two different scenarios, one if you decide to buy and one if you decide to wait, and then let you make the decision on what is the best route to go. According to a recent article on Realtor.com, they have identified the week of October 1st through October 7th as the best time of the year to buy a home. Now, the reasons that they gave, because there's increased inventory compared to the spring and summer. The second reason is there's less competition. Groups like families who are moving because of schools or renters who are on the September rent cycle have either made a purchase or decided to stay where they are for another year, and now they've left the home buying segment, so that way there are less people looking to buy a home right now. I agree with their assessment, except I would expand it from about the last week of September to the last week of October. Historically here in Massachusetts, inventory is the highest in the fall in that specific time frame and in the last 2 weeks of June. However, the one major difference is that in the fall, there is significantly less competition than there is in June. Just last week, for example, the Mortgage Bankers Association announced that new mortgage applications are at a 26-year low. Looking at the week ending September 16th, Massachusetts is actually at their peak inventory for the entirety of 2023. There is, I believe, 7,943 homes for sale, which is about 5% higher than it was in the June peak. Now, we're still down about 56% compared to the same weekend in 2019, but it's definitely not the buying frenzy that it was in 2020, 2021, and the first half of 2022. Anecdotally, I have a story that actually proves this theory. A few years ago, I was about to list a townhouse for sale in Watertown, Mass, and this townhome is part of a 4-unit association where all 4 townhouses are identical, minus the interior paint colors and the personal decor of the homeowners themselves. Now, earlier in the year, in March of 2021, one of the other townhomes was listed for sale. They listed for $929,000, and due to the market conditions at the time, it ended up selling for $1,020,000. Now, when I went with my sellers, I laid out the expectations that the same result will most likely not happen with their unit. We ended up listing in September, and we listed for $949,000, and it ended up closing for $965,000. And again, the units are very, very similar. It was easy to make a comparison between the two properties, and you could see that almost the same exact property, but listed at different time of year, will produce different results. Taking a look at home prices in a few of the towns that I do business in, so far, year to date, median home price of single families, for example, in Lexington are up 5.3%, Winchester down 4.3%, Arlington down 1.5%, and Watertown up 7.5%. I've looked up data on a number of towns in Greater Boston, and I found the majority of them do fall into that minus 5% to up 5% when we're going back over the last 12 months. And a quick reminder, I am a local realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty, and I specialize in the marketing process when it comes to selling your home. So if you want to talk more specifically about your own personal goals or have questions about some of these data points, maybe in another town that I didn't mention, all my contact information is in the description below. Please reach out. I'd love to talk to you. According to Zillow's latest forecast, they are predicting a 6.5% gain in home appreciation from July of 23 to July of 24. Now, that's one of the more bullish cases that I've seen, but even if we take a look at CoreLogic, for example, they are also predicting a gain of 3.5% in that same time frame. Now, if you remember last week's update, we talked about 8 reputable companies like Moody's, Morningstar, Mortgage Bankers Association, Morgan Stanley, and all of them were predicting mortgage rates to decline by the end of this year and even further going into 2024. So what am I getting at? If you need to move, and I emphasize need, not want, if you need to change your living situation for an important reason, not you just feel like upgrading, then you have really 2 scenarios. Scenario 1 is to try to purchase a house this fall when inventory is right now at its peak here in Massachusetts. Buyer demand, or new buyer demand, is at a 26-year low, and you have the ability to take your time, look at a number of homes, and even negotiate both price and contingency. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 goes like this. Zillow, CoreLogic, other sources that I've read are all predicting prices to increase next year and not decrease. Secondly, if mortgage rates decline, and I think if they get to 6.5%, we're gonna see a huge flood of buyers re-enter the market. Combined with the fact that January, February, March are the lowest levels of inventory that we have every year here in Massachusetts. That means buyers are going up, inventory's going down. That's going to create that frenzy again where you have multiple offers, you don't have the ability to negotiate, and then depending on how low the rates go, that could drive prices even further than these companies are predicting right now. Obviously, your situation is unique, and what you do needs to be best for you and your family or your situation that you're in. I can only tell you what I'm doing and what the facts and historical data are to help you make the best decision. And if you need help deciding where to buy, check out this awesome town breakdown I did on one of my favorite Boston suburbs. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.